Thank you, Don. That was Don. Don gave his #2 speech from the Competent Communicators Manual, Organize Your Speech. And it was a flammable speech. And I don't know about you, but I don't get the impression that Don's at a #2 level. He's a little higher level. He comes up with a lot of grace and just really does a really good job. I saw him in his humorous speech contest the other day, did a great job. So you have very natural ease when you're speaking, and that's just always a pleasure to watch you speak. You took a really interesting topic, very topical, because we just had these conventions, and you stated your purpose was to give the history of the conventions. And the #2 speech has several goals. One thing is to select an appropriate outline which allows listeners to easily follow and understand your speech. I think yours was easy to follow. You make your message clear. Your message, what you said was clear, and I'll get to it a little bit later. I got some suggestions as maybe on organization, and then use appropriate transitions, and then create a strong opening and conclusion. And I also saw, which I think you did all of that, and I also saw you came up with notes, though you weren't using it most of the time. You did lose your way once, and you had to go back and look at the notes, but I think you handled it with composure and then got on and finished up the rest of your speech. Now for suggestions, and this is the part that's really been kind of struggling to try to just get it right, is that you start out saying, I'm going to give the history of political conventions. You went on to do that, and you cited a lot of examples of where these backroom deals and the bosses and everything else, sort of like, it was sort of geared towards like the difference between having conventions and having primaries selecting the nominees. So that was kind of where it was kind of looked like it was going. And then at the end, you kind of went on to say, well, what are the purpose of having the convention? And then you listed the 4 reasons why we should still have conventions, but it seemed to me that your structure, you were getting to this conclusion, but you didn't have your speech wasn't geared for that, and you just kind of did it at the end. And I think you might have want to adjust that to kind of state at the beginning, here's the history of the conventions, and I'll state now, and state that we want to determine whether we should have conventions now, or should we just do away with them in light of the fact that the nominees are being selected earlier in the primaries system. So I think you might have stated that and then geared everything towards that. Also, I think you've missed some opportunities for irony. For instance, even though you're criticizing these backroom bosses produced Abraham Lincoln, Franklin Roosevelt, our great presidents. These open primaries that we're having now produced George W. Bush, Barack Obama. Compare them with what we had before, and then maybe come to a conclusion. I think it might be an interesting comparison. But once again, you do an excellent job. I think you might spend a little bit more time tweaking it, and maybe had a little bit more time before you finish. It would have been even better. And I'm really looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.